So in this video today, we are talking about what to do when a man is distant, when he starts to pull away. We know this scenario all too well. Things seem to be going so well. Then suddenly, he stops texting you or calling you as often as you'd like. Maybe he's waiting until the last minute to make plans with you. You're feeling taken for granted. You're not sure what to do to turn things around, but you don't want to lose him. You've never felt the way you do about him with anyone else before, and so you don't want to risk losing him by speaking up and saying how much you want more than he's giving you right now. But still, your heart longs for more from him, and you struggle with just how much to say or not to say, and what to do, really. So when men are distant or becoming emotionally unavailable, it can wreak real havoc on your emotional well-being. Have you ever been in this situation before? Or maybe you're in it now. When the man you're in a relationship with starts getting distant and pulls away. Pause the video right here. Let me know in the comments, yes or no. I've been here. And click the subscribe button while you're at it. Because the reality is, if you want him to treat you differently, if you want to start having the type of relationship you want with him on your own terms, without you on the begging end, but with you feeling like he's finally treating you the way that you know in your heart that you deserve to be treated, the way that you deserve to be loved, then I'm going to tell you what you need to do. But before I do, I want you to recognize something, because this is something that's really important. That you know that you have every right to have someone who calls you often and with enough notice to get together. See, you deserve nothing less than someone who knows what he's got in you and knows what's required of him if he wants to be in a relationship with you. You absolutely deserve to have the kind of loving relationship that you've always wanted. See, that's the mindset. And it is absolutely essential that you adopt that before we get to the next part. So where do we go from here? Well, you have a couple of options. First, you can talk to him. You can tell him how you feel. You can let him know what you need from him. You can have that heart-to-heart talk that he doesn't want to have, but you need to have. You can try to change him by telling him all of this and more. You can hope that by communicating your needs directly with him like this, that he's going to know what he needs to do. And rather than risk losing you, he's going to make those changes that you want. And yes, he might. But the unfortunate reality is that all too often it doesn't work out that way. And you only feel worse after talking with him. See, it's very likely that he isn't going to respond well at all, and he's going to suddenly pull away even further, and you're going to be left regretting saying anything in the first place. Or worse, it's going to put him on the defensive and make him angry, which is going to make him even feel more distant than he already was, which in turn makes you feel even more scared of losing him, which makes you cling onto him all that much more, making you feel more insecure and doubting yourself in the process. See, it's a downward spiral that can lead to that all too common place where that unhealthy push and pull pattern comes into play, with you pushing for more and him pulling away further. And that's a pattern that once it's set, it can be so hard to change. It tugs on our deep-seated insecurities that often stems from our own abandonment issues and his feelings of being stifled that come from his background issues. The more you feel triggered, the more he feels triggered. And before you know it, your relationship becomes more about everything going on beneath the surface than it is about the two of you. There is hope, though, because you do have another option. Instead of talking to him, you can choose to look at yourself. Instead of telling him what you need him to do differently when he's distant, you can show him by your actions, by your behavior, exactly what your boundaries are. Instead of the focus being on him, the focus shifts instead on someone that you can actually change, you, yourself. Instead of depending on someone else to do something different and make a change in order to give you what you need, by choosing to focus on yourself, he doesn't feel smothered, and your feelings of security and confidence in the relationship, and thus your self-esteem, aren't dependent on what he does or doesn't do. The problem is that you have been looking for him to prove how much he cares about you by whether or not he responds to your requests, when in reality his response is about how much he's feeling out of control and smothered, and not about how much he cares about you. Do you see the difference? So if you want him to text you or call you more, instead of telling him you want him to text you more or call you more when he hasn't contacted you in a while, you make sure you're filling your life with other people, other activities, other priorities. And yes, depending on your situation, this may mean dating other people, or at least being open to that. Not because you're playing games with him, but because you're focusing on you and making yourself the priority for a change. You're dating more than just him because he hasn't shown you that he's exclusive with you yet, or worthy of being exclusive for. You're focused on the things you enjoy. You're keeping a full life of your own while you're watching to see where this might lead. You're out there, you're doing things, you're following your dreams. You're not just staying at home waiting for the phone to ring or continuously checking to see if he texted you. You're living your life first and foremost with the focus on you and not solely on this relationship you want so badly with him. If you want him to make plans with you earlier in the week before the weekend rolls around, then make sure that you have plans for the weekend set by midweek. Then, when he doesn't ask you until Friday morning, you can let him know that you already have plans. Because you do. You already do. You're not waiting around for him to see if he's eventually going to contact you. You went ahead and made your own plans without waiting around for him this time. Sure, you prefer to do something with him. Of course you do. But the reality is that the only way that he's going to get the message and start making his plans with you earlier is if he actually sees that you require this of him by your actions, by the consequences of his actions or inaction, by the fact that you're busy when he finally calls you. You show him by your actions that you're a high-value woman who doesn't put her life on hold for anyone, and not even him. The key is believing in yourself and having the confidence and self-esteem to know this is the real you. Because guess what, beautiful? It is.